People think running a business is easy and it's put you on the pedestal, you make a lot of money, but they don't see
Blood,
how
sweat and
tirelessly you
tears,
work behind the scenes. It's like a duck on the pond, isn't it? You're sat on the pond, but what's going on underneath? You're paddling like mad.
Absolutely. Hi everyone, I'm Claire Allsop.
Tim Allsop.
Lee Franks.
The clarity that you get from just an idea to at the end of those 12 weeks is second to none.
We could have conversations about it and it brings it to life, then it just makes it so much clearer because we have those conversations. It's not just you're left with a workbook to crack on with it.
Everything that you thought was going well, you need to look at because there's other ways, more efficient ways.
There's a way bigger thing that's worth chasing. So welcome to Vision to Venture. Now this is a really different interview because this is actually talking about Vision to Venture, the actual course and the program that you guys have been through. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get my little audience here who are all my founding members of Vision to Venture who've been on the journey helping me test the program. I'm going to get them all to introduce themselves first, and then we'll start having a chat about what you've learned through the program. So, over to you, Tim.
Hi, Tim Allsop. I've been on the Vision to Venture course to help Claire with a second business idea and also to help yourself look at any teething problems that might have come through before you launch the actual course.
Cool.
Hi everyone, I'm Claire Allsop from the Holistic VA. I've been working with Neil the whole journey through my first year of business, so really excited to be on the course and kind of support you after all the support you've given me. So yeah, thank you.
I'm Lee Franks. I'm from Talking Frankly Therapy, and I met you at the very beginning of the course.
So the first question I'm going to ask you, and you're going to say because you asked us to, but why did you actually come on the course?
Well, there's a couple of reasons. One, you've done a lot for me and Claire, and it was to help you test that and see how it was and come up with any ideas that we might have to help with it. And then the second was the amount of information that we can gather from that has been phenomenal, really, in terms of business and how to do things and getting started. So it's been really beneficial.
So why for you, Claire?
Well, as I said, first year in business, so it was like the perfect time for me. So yeah, obviously,
Perfect storm, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. So already we were working together anyway, so it kind of just really fit really well. Yeah, really appreciative of all the help you've given me. So it was great to be able to do something for you, and also to go through that with some of the people that are at the same sort of journey and kind of go through it together, learning from each other. So yeah, it was a really good opportunity. So yeah, cool. Thank you.
And for yourself, Lee? Here we go.
You've got to be honest, Lee.
Lee's just doing you a favour, apparently.
Well,
Let the audience know. Clearly, there's a bit of a story here.
Well, I was talking to him probably about one of my many IT issues. And he was like, oh, there's somebody that's doing a business course if you might be interested. And I was just like, no, I've spent like the last 18 months doing business courses, and it's just hard going, and I've learned a lot, and I feel like I'm at a stage now, not that I know everything, but I'm at a stage where I know what I need to know, and I'm happy doing my counselling. That's where my passion lies. And you were like, oh, I think it'd be quite a good course. And I was just like, I was like, well, who is this person? He's like, oh, his name's Neil. And I was just like, maybe I could share some of this. Maybe I could share some of this knowledge that I've learned over my time, and maybe I could give a bit of feedback and maybe help you develop this course. Yeah, and I was like, my thing was, I know it takes a lot of time and giving feedback and courses, and I wasn't sure, if I'm honest, if I was going to get anything that I hadn't already spent so much time learning. And my question was, is he a nice person? And Tim said, yeah, he's a top bloke. And I was like, okay, hand my details over. Yeah, and then that's basically how I got into the course.
How's that going for you?
The question is, how's it going for you?
I'm glad to have you all in my life. That's the bottom line. So you sort of introduced us to where you were. You were right at the beginning. Where were you when you joined? What was happening in your business?
I was quite happy with where I was.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, I thought I was doing really well, and I'd kind of built my private practice up. I was about 18 months in from private practice. I'd moved over from the charity sector to set up my own private practice, and gone on a very steep learning curve with trying to learn all the business acumen and everything like that. And I'd had it in a place that I was quite proud of, quite happy, and values led and ethical, and kind of.
So you were sort of in that sort of, I've done the initial startup, and
Yeah.
I've found my lane now, and I'm okay where I am.
Yeah.
Cool. What about yourself, Claire? You talked about. Let's just talk about not the stuff we were doing prior, but when you joined the course, where were you on your business?
Oh, where was I when we first started? It seems like quite a while ago now that we started, doesn't it? I think I was at a point where, so my first goal was I wanted to, replace my salary that I'd, my previous role, and I was I think I was at a point where I felt a little bit lost when we kind of talked about coming on the course, and I didn't kind of know how to kind of push things forward. So I think I was in a bit of limbo at the time when we first started.
There's a bit going on in your head.
There was, that was exactly it. I was very much in my head and overthinking everything and doubting myself, and I definitely needed. I think the course came at the right time, definitely.
And just to say, this is the girl who doubted herself, then picked me for an award. Go figure. And you're still here on the channel.
The award-winning Claire also.
Start.
She don't like that, Tim. You
I
know.
know. I had to get that in.
So, you sort of joined with a lot going on.
I did, yeah, absolutely. I've been a PA for 20 odd years. I know what to do there. It was like the business side of things. I did that in an employed setting, so that's fine. All you have to think about is your day job and looking after your stakeholders and just getting on with it. But there's just so much more when it's your own business. And I'd never run a business before, so I was very much in my own head.
From your perspective, Tim, what did you think she was stuck on at that time?
I think like Claire said, she knows how to do the actual job itself. It's all of the other bits that you have support from when you're working even in a smaller company, but in a big corporate like Claire was in. She just had all these different departments and different people that she could call on whenever she needed it, whatever that may be.
Exactly.
And so many things that you just don't think about at all, things that came out of the course that you just would not think about unless you've either run your own business in the past or you've been through something like that. You just would not know what you needed to do exactly.
Yeah.
So I think for Claire, it was probably coming in at that time where she needed to think about some of the other external things rather than just the day-to-day of the business.
Yeah.
Am I right in
Yeah,
thinking that?
absolutely.
I'll take it for you, Lee. You weren't stuck on anything. You were just,
Lee was flying.
you were just
Actually holding me back.
you were just stuck on telling me how to do things.
I thought I was doing okay.
So where were you? You know where you are now, but where were you back then in terms of clarity on what you wanted to do and where you wanted to be?
For me, it was just I couldn't think that far ahead. I think we'd had that conversation. I was so in my head, I could only just think about getting through each day. So I had no direction of where I was going. Like absolutely, I just
getting through each day.
Just getting through each day. Yeah, absolutely. Just wanting to not let my clients down and just just get through each day. Kind of sums it up really. I had no bigger picture of where I wanted to kind of go. It was just right. This is what I need to do, and then all the other stuff. Just trying to find a way through it as I went, with your guidance, obviously. But yeah, felt very kind of lost.
What about for you, Lee? Because you're a few years into your business. What did clarity look like for you then?
I think clarity for me back then was I knew that what I was doing I was very passionate about, and it's always been important to me to deliver a good service and make sure that everybody has the best of me. So, it's kind of ingrained.
Particularly in your industry,
Yeah. So it was ingrained in me that it was going to be quality every time that somebody met with me. They were going to, get a good session. So it wasn't a case of building, seeing as many clients as possible. It was very much keep the numbers low, keep the quality high, and everything that I was doing. And I promised myself when I started, it would all be values led and ethical. And every decision, so everybody I work with, everybody that organisations and things like that, that they have the same, not exactly the same values, but they're invested in people. So I think that part was really clear, and it meant that I'd said no to a lot of businesses and a lot of money in the early days because our values just didn't align. So there was clarity there, and I knew that the work that I was doing, and I knew it worked because I've got the evidence, got the testimonies, and people come and they get better. And I think at the time that was enough for me, and I thought I was quite clear, and just people will find me how they found me, brilliant that they did find me. But when I look at what I've been through on the course, it's a bit of a miracle that they did find me. But they find me, they did. So I probably thought that I was quite clear, but I now know what I know, and I probably wasn't as clear as I could have been.
Now, yeah. So was there anything worrying you at the time?
I suppose capacity at the time, because obviously you get people that are coming through, and I'd be either at capacity or people would get better, and then people would finish as, that's what they want to do. So that's good.
Yeah, so you get a bit of churn.
Yeah, so then it dropped down, and then it'd go up and it'd drop down. So again, it was, I think those were...
Bit of the feast and famine.
Yeah, which again, as a counsellor, for me, again, being ethical, my goal is to help people reach whatever goal they're coming with. And it's kind of trying to keep that balance of you want to empower them to, leave when they're ready to leave and when they feel ready. And you celebrate that. But then from the business side, I'll be kind of putting everything into the clients and then completely forget to market myself. And it was just this kind of boom and bust. And so then the client numbers drop down. Then you get time to market yourself and do stuff. And then and then you forget to do that. And it's just like, it was...
Going round in circles almost.
Yeah.
What about yourself, Claire? What were you worrying about most?
Honestly, probably money at the time. Yeah, absolutely. I had a short window left of when, I had some money aside that kind of took me to the end of the year. And so I think that kind of held me back a little bit because I was so in my head worrying about the money, not thinking about actually just, getting on with it and just, growing it naturally. And
so just take me back to before you left your corporate role.
Yeah.
If you think back to...
It's a long time. Feels like a long time now, yeah.
Like was there anything there that would have stopped you doing this? Because you were almost given an opportunity that was too good to refuse, that take you into this world. Was there anything stopping you from doing this prior to...
We spoke about this, haven't we? If it hadn't been forced, maybe.
Yeah, I think when it was 2008, me and Tim both lost our job at the same time and almost lost our house. And so taking that leap, going self-employed, owning your own business, that's a big gamble. And we'd been in our previous house for a long time and we'd outgrown it a lot longer before. And we just found this house and, we in an area that we love. And so it felt like it was a big risk. But yeah, I think that losing all that, the thought of losing all that, because we'd been burnt before.
Do you think that would have stopped you?
Not stopped me completely. It made me a bit more cautious, I think. Made me a bit more cautious because I think when you've been through it, especially going through it together, and how that felt. And back then we didn't have children, so it's different now. It's a lot more riding on you, absolutely.
Big responsibilities.
Exactly. So yeah, there was a lot of fear there, which I think is normal. But yeah, I'm glad I did it.
And at that time, were you confident in the problem you were trying to solve for the world? Because I can see, Lee's pretty confident that she's solving the problem.
I think I felt confident that I was bringing something a little bit different. I didn't know because I hadn't had time to test it or anything like that because it was literally a whirlwind of, move house and then why not start a business 3 weeks later? That's the best time to do it. So I hadn't really had time to think about it. So I don't think I wouldn't say I was confident in it because I didn't know. I didn't know at the time. I I knew what I knew what I'd been doing for a long time. I felt like I was bringing something a little bit different, and just kind of went out and spoke to people, and
I think you knew that there were people that were overwhelmed, though, didn't you? Especially small business owners that
definitely
just were trying to do too much,
Definitely.
and there was a value add there. But I think the big thing was looking after the person as well and bringing that holistic wellness twist to it.
Yeah, definitely. It, after being through it myself, having 2 children and then burning out, going back to work so soon, and I'd see it in other people, just taking on too much, and we're in fight or flight so often that you don't have time to think about, how, if you're struggling until it's too late, So that was kind of where I was trying to get with the business, was just help people before it got too late. So how I can support them to not burn out and to be having breaks during their day, and whatever their non-negotiables are, if they wanted to do the school run or go to the gym or whatever that may be, that time was allocated in their diary, so they're not just back-to-back meetings or back-to-back just in front of a laptop without getting outside.
And that's your USPs, and that's what's unique about you.
Well, there's times at the moment, because of where Claire's at with the business, where it's so busy and so full on. But I think last night was a good example where you could have easily said, I'm not going to go to the gym, but that's everything that you talk about to your clients. And we had the conversation, she went, I could really do with not going tonight, but I'm going to go because I've got to, number one, prioritise my health and my well-being, but also this is everything that she talks about to her clients as well.
Exactly. I can't show up at work, at home, if I'm not taking care of myself first. So I think there was definitely a need for that, but I didn't think I fully appreciated it at the beginning of the road.
So if I was to ask you, and you were to have somebody fresh who's never been on this program, say, why this program, what would you say to him?
I'd 100% tell them to go on it. The clarity that you get from just an idea to at the end of those 12 weeks, and the information that you give to people is second to none. Yeah, it's really good. So I think I'd definitely encourage people to do it, but I think clarity is the word I'd use. Yeah, having that clarity on why are you doing it, and what's the end goal as well. I remember when you very first spoke to Claire when she was still employed, and it was just an idea, and you said, what's your exit strategy? I think that was one of the questions when you were first talking to her. And I don't think anybody would probably think about that sort of thing when they were starting a business. Yeah. But it is important to know your why are you doing it? And then there's all those bits in between as well, like I've mentioned it quite a few times. You use Uber as an example of disrupting an industry, or looking at how they can do something different. I think that's a big thing as well. What are you doing different to all the other people that are doing that? If you're in an industry that already has a lot of people doing what you do, there's a lot of VAs out there, there's a lot of therapists out there.
Why are you different?
Why are you different? It's quite a saturated industry. And I think in your course, one of the big parts of it all the way through is why are you different? Or let's find out what you can do to be different as well, if there isn't anything already there. So
and
there's bags of value in it, but
that first piece where we're talking about defining who you are, what's the problem you're solving in the world, all of that stuff actually is really deep at the beginning, but it pays off at the end, because you can't market yourself unless you know all of this stuff.
But I think I've been on quite a few courses.
Well, hang on. The question I've got for you on the same tack was, what felt different as an expert? I added that bit of it as an expert.
But a lot of the courses to do with business will go there and kind of it's almost like a tick box exercise. So it's kind of like, what makes you different? And for me, as a counsellor, as a therapist,
and an expert,
you're never going to live this down, are you?
I'm not.
Ever.
But what I found going on these different courses is I wasn't like, some therapists will niche and they'll be like, right, I'm going to see these clients and treat this. But for me, I've never really wanted to niche, because I've found that humans are complex. So people might come with anxiety, but we might need to go into bereavement. We might need to go into workload. There's lots of reasons behind why people might be coming. so I've made the decision not to niche because, it just doesn't.
It's kind of overly complex in your industry, isn't it? If you try and niche down,
For me and how I work.
because how do you know when someone presents whether they're in that niche?
Well, yeah, and again, like people might come to a therapist looking because they think they know what it is, and then they engage with that, and actually it doesn't solve the problem because the underlying issue was never what they thought it was. So yeah, I work holistically with people, but it was quite useful because whenever I've been on these other courses, a lot of the time it's kind of almost fixated, well, you know, if you niche, then you can market, clear marketing message. And it's almost kind of like I felt like I don't fit in. Whereas on this course, it was obviously brought up as it would be with any business course because it is useful. There is value there. But it was about, okay, so let's look at it and then let's discuss it. And I felt like you brought the value because it wasn't just a case of, oh yeah, tick box, we'll move on to the next thing. It's getting clear on, okay, so if you're not niching, what is it that you're doing that's different? And I remember sitting there and it's just like, wow, I just help people. Like they come to me, they get better, like, you know, and you kept, it wasn't that you left it or forced me or anything like that, but it was just, let's explore this further. And I hadn't realised how structured I was with what I do. It was kind of, yes, going on intuition and things, but it was very much, right, this is the framework that I use. This is how I do it. And had you not kind of coached and kind of sat with me, I would have just thought that what I do, it's almost like I can't put into words. I just know that it works. Whereas now I know the value. I know what it is. And I copy that and unconsciously I'd copied that in every single session that I'd done with clients. And that's where, you know, the success of the work with me was, because, you know, I've got a background in the NHS as well, but it was bringing the structure from the NHS and bringing the depth of private practice, and that's where the two meet. And that's where the magic happens, which I'd completely missed on all these other courses.
So what were you most sceptical about? You've talked a couple of times about all the things that you've done. What were you most sceptical about coming into the course?
That it wouldn't work for me because I'm in the kind of well-being industry. And I think a lot of the time with business, it's very much, this is business, you know, it's all about, you know, the figures, you need to be doing this, you need to be loud, you need to be out there, you need to have your message, you need to be on social media, you need to, and for me, like, I mean, when I've got something to say, I will say it, but I'm not just going to randomly say stuff just like, oh, hi, I'm over here, look at me. Like, that's just not my style. So, and again, it's just, I'm not saying that I have gained a lot from other courses, and I'm grateful for, you know, the people who have, you know, delivered them. But it was almost like trying to translate, oh, well, I can use that bit or that bit, but I'd need to, it was almost like going through this whole translation process on my own. And it was quite exhausting. And you go to some of these, you know, like 2 hours or, you know, half a day or a day, and there'd be like, you know, some would be great.
Good snippets to take away.
Yeah, but then I would be left thinking, well, you know, that's a long time out my day where I could be, you know, doing like counselling or doing other stuff. And there becomes a point, which is where I was at when Tim said, where it's like, I need to just focus on the work now because there's only so many hours. I mean, we all have the same 24 hours, but there's only so many hours in the day. And actually, I'm spending a lot of time. I am getting like bits of things, but I'm having to work hard for it or trying to fit it into my industry.
Yeah.
So that's where this course was different.
It's the thing that I think is unique. It's the action orientation. The reason I positioned the course to go to your first customer in 12 weeks from the spark of an idea is because if you work hard, you can do that, and it's action. Yeah. It's action based all the way. You know, having the workbook there, forcing you to think and think and think.
But it's tailored.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's the key, because again, we've all sat there. Everybody's got different things that they were bringing. And
this is in the masterclasses when we're
having those extra pair of ears and eyes on it to go, oh, have you thought about this?
Yeah.
You came in with a lot of things from that respect, Lee, that were really useful. Well, no, you did though.
Well, she is the expert.
As an expert, yeah. But yeah, I think having those other people to just, you know, it's a different set of eyes, isn't it?
Yeah,
You're in it day in, day
Yeah,
out,
yeah.
but then someone just looks in and goes, "Have you thought about this?" And you,
And like even for me, that was a great cohort we had there because you were questioning one another. And I'm not an expert at starting businesses, or am I? We're not. I don't know everything. I don't know your industry. So part of what I'm doing is learning your industry and just using open questioning frameworks to try and guide you to an overarching framework that I'll know start a business up. So having other people with other perspectives come in and also challenge you, it just makes it really rich. So the whole idea about building a community around Vision to Venture for me is absolutely key to its success.
and I think service industries, which you both are, I think some of it wasn't straightforward, and I can understand why you had problems with previous courses that you were on, because it's not straightforward for a business like yours in terms of what the standard models are for starting a business, and you've got to do this and you've got to do that. But I think that was also a good learning curve for Neil as well,
sure.
because
God,
you
I
really
think
had to think
complex
about
students. I didn't expect that.
but I think you know, there's probably a lot of other people like Lee out there that are really frustrated with courses they've been on that could get some value out of this, because it is different and it's more. It's not kind of we try and put everyone into this one box and one size fits all.
Yeah.
So
That's
for
not how it
you,
is.
Lee, what was the moment when you thought, "Oh, this might be all right," or "This might help"?
If I'm honest, the first week
It hasn't come yet.
I'll let you know.
Sorry.
No, if I'm honest, like the first, because it's obviously it's over weeks, but the first week you kind of, the format of the course is you watch a video and then you work through the slides, and the slides and everything were similar to what I'd experienced before. So I was just like, okay, you know, this is information, and you know, that's fine. And then I'd missed the first masterclass, and I'd watched it on the recording, and for me, it was at that point where I was like, yeah, this is something. There's something special here, because it was just the conversation that was going, and it was the coaching, and it was there was obviously the information, the business information, which is good business information. It's standard, and I've heard it from lots of different sources, and then. But it was you and talking about how to apply it and asking questions, and whoever was, you know, talking, it was applicable to that business. And for me, it was like, this is something different. This is something that I think is going to be really valuable. So it was actually not the slides and everything. It was the first masterclass.
I must have to play that video back and have a look at it. What about for you, Claire?
For me, I think because I knew you anyway, I knew it was going to be good. But yeah, I think it's the support for me, like being a one-man band and not knowing anything about business. Like from the beginning, it just made me question everything that I was doing. You know, am I on the right path? Is my messaging clear? Is the problem I'm trying to solve clear? All those things that you teach. But like from start to finish, it's just so much valuable information. And then what you bring as well, like exactly what Lee was saying, you know, those masterclasses. If there's something I'd struggled with the slides that I couldn't quite get, it was, you know, it's not like I had to, you know, just wing it or chat GPT or whatever. You know, there was actually, we could have conversations about it, and it brings it to life. Then it just makes it so much clearer because we have those conversations. It's not just you're left with a workbook to crack on with it and hope for the best and, you know, hope that you kind of get it right, because it's not clear, you know, sometimes. And not that the slides aren't clear, but it's not clear with what you're doing sometimes, you know, and sometimes you need to bounce those ideas off people. And am I on the right path? Did I even read that right? Is this making sense?
So when we talk about clarity, how did your problem statement, we worked on problem statements in the early days, how did your problem statement, I'll start with Lee, how did yours change?
I think, okay, I'm probably going to be a bit controversial here.
Oh.
No, it's not like you.
I I think for me, the problem statement, I worked with it, I tried it, and I probably put more effort into the problem statement than I have done on any of the courses that I've worked on. And I think I've the thing that I got from the course was that, well, one, with the problem statement, I'm just like, people come to me with a problem. I solve the problem. I'm the problem statement. But I think it was also about, you don't have to fit in to these boxes, and it's okay. Because again, I tried this, I tried that. And it wasn't like you were kind of like, oh, we can't move on until you've got your problem statement or your messaging's not. It wasn't like in a critical way. It was kind of, okay, it's just accepted. And actually, I feel confident in what I'm doing. Whereas before it was like, well, I haven't got a problem statement. I don't, I haven't niched down. I can't put into exact words. There are words that I use, but is it a succinct, I can just roll off the tongue? I don't think I'm there, but actually...
I remember your drawings, when you got the boxes with everything on, when you were trying to work out the whole piece with your clients and how does this all come together. And it doesn't have to be perfect and it doesn't have to be right. But the thing I took away with it, for you, it just gives you that whole, I'm actually authority in yourself almost, that I am doing the right thing. I know what I'm doing and it's right.
And it's crazy as well, because it's like, clearly I've got a business, clearly it's working. And then I've got like business courses and it's like, well, you need a problem statement. I'm just like, well, this doesn't work. And then it's like, well, but it's working over here, but I haven't got my problem. So it's just like, well, where do I sit here? Like, sort of thing.
Second guessing yourself.
Yeah. So actually it was just nice to just, literally thrash it out, do it. And then it's like, it's okay to just be where I may have a problem statement in the future and it may boom, this is exactly, what it is. But for now, I'm good.
Yeah, but whilst you don't have that overarching statement, you're really clear on the problems you're solving for people.
I'm clear on the problems, so I know what I help with. I know how I help. So there's so much clarity that's come.
So we did a bit of work there where we went exploring our customers and getting to know. Now, you by this time, you'd got some customers under the belt, Claire. How did you find those early days defining who you were and what you do and how you help? How did you find that in terms of having conversations with customers?
Do you mean when we started the course or when I actually first started?
How did the course really help you with positioning yourself?
I think because when I just first started and going networking, it was just so overwhelming, and I didn't really I don't think I really understood the problem. I knew I wanted to help people, taking away their admin and the basic sort of, this is what a virtual assistant / personal assistant does, but the actual value that was I found that really hard. I don't know if that's a confidence thing or I think it definitely helped the messaging, it helped change the messaging when I did go out networking, just understanding, articulating, I guess, what I do that's different, and what the problem I'm trying to solve. It helps it become clearer in my head when I'm talking about it, because it is quite hard when you're out there. It's nerve-wracking. And
you're walking into a room full of strangers a lot of the time.
Absolutely.
And I think that's harder for women too, because a lot of these networking groups are loaded with blokes. They're higher with men, and I think they can be quite intimidating environments too.
Yeah, no, absolutely. When you first start, that's a really scary thing, and you kind of have to do it. You need to go and talk to people about your business.
What surprised you the most when you did start talking to people, when you got clarity?
I think the change in their face when you kind of explain what you do, it was a little bit different. I think when I first started, I didn't talk as much about the sort of the wellness side of it, what I'm trying to achieve, and because it's something a little bit different, that it's not just about ticking off tasks, no matter what that looks like. It's having some intention and thinking about that person that's got to deliver that work, or attend those meetings. I think people are like, oh, I hadn't thought about it like that. So just having that clarity kind of changed how people responded to me.
Did you feel like the course has simplified things in your minds?
Definitely.
In what way?
Like I say, just because I'm clear about what I do, so people understand me, will understand what what I'm trying to say or what I'm trying to achieve.
So that's all about that first bit about define and discover, isn't it?
Yeah.
What's the problem I'm solving? Who am I solving it for?
Yeah.
what's my solution and what's unique about me.
Yeah.
Once you nail that,
Yeah.
you can get that confidence of talking.
I hadn't even thought about anything like that so much at the beginning. Like I say, I'd been a PA for 20 years. That's kind of my, I know what I'm doing, but I wouldn't even have thought about looking at it like that.
What about for yourself, Lee? Did you feel things got simplified through the course?
Yeah, I think for me, it was kind of like initially it was probably just bringing all the information in and kind of like looking at things, but then actually it just become clear, and because it's almost like you kind of revisit stuff, so you kind of like, oh, okay, and then you're adding more stuff, and you just kind of like, oh, I bring value because of this, I bring value because of that. I look at people holistically. I bring in the nervous system. I've got structure that I work with. So people don't just like, they just have therapy and it's like it never gets reviewed. So for me, it was like every time we kind of went over stuff, there was bits that were added, and then when I was like writing a profile, it just became clear what I could say in the profile. For my website, it was like, oh, now I kind of, I'm clear with what I'm saying.
The one thing I remember when you got clear on your minimum viable product, and we talked about minimum viable product and what that might be. There was a bit of a spin there for a moment. Oh,
Yeah.
what do I do? What do I do? How am I going to build a minimum viable product? And what was it in the end? How simple was it?
Yeah. Because it was challenging how I'd done things previously. So it's like, oh, I've got this idea. And then it's like, oh, I need to do this. And then I'll present the idea. And actually, it was just the kind of, okay, let's just do a minimal viable product. Just put together a flyer,
and
see if people are actually interested in it before you put all the hours of work in. Turns out they are interested. But at the same time, if it hadn't have landed, I'd have wasted all that time, or I would have had to, work out different things. So actually, it was like, these are the people that I want to help. This is what I want to do. Okay, let's do a flyer, give it to them, and it's just like get some feedback, and it's just like, oh, okay.
And obviously, for that flyer, you've got to have some sort of a framework mapped out, but you don't have to have all the detail behind it, do you? It's no different. My YouTube channel, when we started this, was all about testing business advice. And I knew I was going to build a course. I didn't know what it would look like, but I knew that this would be a good sounding board for trying ideas.
I think one thing I was going to say off the back of that I think is really important is the testing of the market, testing to see what people want, and the other thing, being able to pivot if the idea that you were set on is not what people want. You have to be able to pivot because you've got to give people what they want. Otherwise, you're never going to succeed, are you?
Yeah.
And that was a really interesting bit where I think, you've got an idea and you're so set on it, you can sometimes be a bit blindsided and forget about what, the end customer.
So what was your biggest light bulb moment?
I think it was that about, does the customer actually want this? Do they want what you're selling, your product, your service, whatever that is? I think that's so important. Or even it might be that you're delivering this service and they like elements of it, but there's bits that you can remove or add in because they like or dislike them. I think it's been having the confidence to change if you need to put you in a different direction, to make sure you're delivering what people actually want and need. Because that might not always align with what you want to do.
It's actually quite often that testing part when people get the feedback, they go, oh, I'm not going in a straight line, I'm going 3 degrees to the left now because someone's come up with something that's real gold in there, or have you thought about adding this to it? And you end up really going into a better space.
Yeah.
And I think it's easier to pivot when you haven't spent hours doing something
because you're not connected with it.
Put your heart and soul into it, and then everyone's like, no, we don't want
it. That's the thing, it's quite emotional, isn't it? You need to kind of step back a little bit, don't you?
Yeah, so it's good like to just do a flyer and then this is what I'm thinking is, if somebody's like...
Yours was a great example of that.
Was,
It was...
Oh, it's perfect, wasn't it? Perfect. So we get to the point where we get past MVP and we start talking about costs and the reality of revenue. Look at her eyes are already glazing over. Oh,
That was a hard one. That was a real hard one
so
for me.
did that start bringing things to reality in terms of your service?
Yeah, I think it did, didn't it? When
Why did you find it hard? There's the question.
I just find the money side of things really uncomfortable, and I think it's a lot of it's just knowing your value as well, isn't it? You know, I think we had lots of conversations in the beginning about this, and it's like, oh, is this too much? And you know,
and businesses, including myself, we all struggle with positioning price.
yeah.
You know,
When you don't know and you've never done it before, it's kind of
but you don't position price, you position value.
yeah, and
Value first.
that's it. Looking at it in a different way, you know, what you're bringing, and you know, I talk about that more, and like with clients, I'm like, if you think about your hourly rate, or you know, however you know you charge your time, it's what I do is I'll kind of take that away. Then you can focus on your business. So you think about how much that's costing you by doing that work yourself. And I think when you start thinking more on the value rather than the cost,
How much value you're bringing.
exactly, it changes your perspective on it. So
What are my back office expenses,
Yeah.
and what's my time worth?
exactly
and
that.
How many hours have I got in a day to deliver that as well? That's the other thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
So let's get going to the dark side of Vision to Venture. What was your toughest piece for you?
I think there was a moment for me. I don't know when it was. Probably about week 3 or 4. I can't remember what the modules were, but
Is this when you realised you weren't an expert?
it was kind of like, okay, so I've been doing this now for a while. I was quite happy when I come on the course. I thought, yeah, doing all right. And then it was like, oh my gosh, it was like a real humbling moment of being like, okay, everything that you thought was going well, you need to look at, because there's other ways, more efficient ways. And it was kind of like almost like an imposter syndrome moment where it was kind of like, oh my gosh, there's a lot that's going on here. So I found, I can't remember, like I said, I can't remember when it was, but it was like, yeah, this is really, really useful information. And it was almost like releasing like everything that I felt comfortable with and secure with in the business. All of a sudden it was like, okay, now I need to reevaluate where I'm at and start
That's good.
bringing other stuff in. It is good. It was quite a difficult patch
A challenge.
that I went through. But it was worth it.
But you're sort of into the mindset of entrepreneurs. You've got to be resilient,
Oh yeah.
and you have to lean
Stayed on
in-
the
yeah,
course.
That's right. And you have
Kept
to,
going.
you have to lean into your fears. You've got to lean into some of that stuff. You know, we've got that fear built into us for a reason. You know, it's protect us from the tiger that's behind, but it helps you move forward. What about for yourself? Toughest moment?
I think it's just the realization when, you know, all the things that we go through, just thinking, oh my God, I've just got so much work to do in terms of as a business.
Yeah.
You know, the day to day is fine, but actually, you know, what's my next steps? How do I want to grow this? And that's quite mind blowing because I hadn't even considered it, like I say. So it's like there is a lot of work.
Because you're down here doing your
Yeah.
day to day, and then you pop your head up, and 3 months has gone, and you go,
Yeah.
oh my God, we've achieved that quarter.
Yeah.
You know, and it is very. It can
It's
get overwhelming. Yeah, that's
Things,
right.
yeah,
That's right.
absolutely.
And you're the director of everything. I talk about it all the time. The
Yeah.
director of everything.
Yeah, but when you see it like that, though, you know.
What
just-
about for
just how
yourself,
much
Tim?
work.
What do you think was the toughest part?
I think it was, what we were, the direction we were going in with Claire to put on those events, and it was the financial side of it.
Yep.
I think figures wise, it was kind of, just have not put enough thought into how much they'll cost and who you'll need to bring in for it and how you'd make the financial side of it work. And there was one module where it felt almost, is that even going to be possible to do? Is it going to be financially viable? So that was a big turning point. But then with the next bits that came after that, it gave a bit more clarity on how to make that work.
We did that initial piece on finance, if you remember, about where's the break-even point.
Yeah.
Really
Yeah.
simple
Yeah.
before the MVP. And then we did the more detail on that at module 9, and it gets really real. And
Yeah.
like you say, you don't actually... You think, I can make a bit of money out of this. And then when you start looking at the costs,
Yeah.
you don't forget you don't remember all the little pieces
Yeah.
that go into add up onto that cost.
Yeah, exactly.
Lots of simple little things, isn't it? Oh,
And again, coming back to Claire's business when she first started, there was those back office costs that they all add up over time, and it's things like your IT software and
yeah, get them all down.
events that you go into. Insurances was one, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's the thing. You don't know what you don't know. So, to have all that mapped out for you is
Yeah.
overwhelming, but brilliant at the same time, because it's all that information that you need to know that you just, where do you even start? There's so much misinformation out there. There's just tons of information, tons of websites and things you can go on, but it just actually makes it worse almost, because you're like, where do I start? So to have it all mapped out is
And there's lots of
really helpful.
experts out there as well, aren't there?
I'm going to leave you alone. I won't bring it up again.
No, I was actually referring to, I wasn't actually referring to
People
Liam.
who I've gone to.
Yeah,
Give
yeah,
me all
but-
this
but-
information.
We're in the age of information, aren't
Yeah.
we? And it's information overload, and you don't know who to trust and what,
trust, yeah.
and who not to trust on anything. And in business is an area where there is a lot of misinformation going around, and or just because something's worked for one person and you've
it's
got to
not-
go all in on this idea because that's what worked for me. This is prime example of where with Lee's business, it's not a one size fits all. So yes, if you're selling a product and
Yeah.
it's a completely different ball game to when you're selling a service, and not just a service. You're dealing with people and emotions, and
So I'm going to stick with the. Go
Sorry.
On, no, go on.
No, I was going to say, like, on what Tim was saying, like, how many forums had I seen where they were like, you have to have a website, you have to have
God,
this,
yeah.
you have to have that, and you're like, no, you don't at the moment. Yeah, you're absolutely fine. I was fine with just networking, bringing in clients.
A
But it's
LinkedIn
like,
page did it for you.
exactly that. That's exactly it. But everyone's telling you have to have this and you have to have that.
you
And
can't start till you've got this.
yeah, and you were
then
like, just do
certain-
it. You just do it.
And certain networking in one of the forums, this networking group does not work whatsoever. Claire joins, doubles her revenue in 2 months. And again, if you listen to these people, it's going to prevent you from
Yeah.
moving forward. And yeah, it might not work. Certain events might not work for everyone. But I think you've got to keep an open mind, haven't
Yeah.
you? With
Oh, I think that is it. The challenge that it brings is
Yeah.
to open your mindset. Now, that brings me to the next question. Starting with you. What did you resist the most in the course?
Ooh, what did I resist the most? Oh, I know. Infrastructure.
yeah.
You remember that conversation?
Systems and processes.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I've got systems and processes, but me and technology, we have this weird relationship
I'll just
where I
to
love
say,
it hates me.
weird. You can't even order an Uber.
Hey, I can get a taxi. There are other ways. So yeah, and it was just kind of, and I remember this again. This is what was useful because I remember it was one masterclass, and we were talking about growing business and things, and I was saying, well, I spend a lot of time, I've got my own internal processes that I do, and both you and Tim were talking about different IT systems that you can use, and I was just like, yeah, but. And I think it was you that said, but how much is it strangling your business? And at that moment, I was like, yeah, I can't grow because I'm literally spending so much time doing all these
I
different
think
things.
that the question was how many hours do you spend on your admin, and
Yeah.
that was
Oh, and
bit
it was
of a-
quite a
that
lot,
was
wasn't
bit-
it, when
Yeah.
you
That
was a
nailed
bit
it
of a
down?
wake-up
Yeah.
call.
It's like what I was saying before.
But that
when you
wasn't,
work
that
it
wasn't
out,
enough, though. I was quite happy. I wasn't happy, but it was just like, but I just, I can just spend this time on admin and it's fine. And then it was like, so you want to grow the business, and also from the wellbeing perspective, it's like the amount of time that it's taking you to do this means that you're not as recharged for your clients.
That
And there was all
it,
these
yeah,
different
yeah.
conversations that were kind of being held within this masterclass. And then it was like, the penny just dropped, and it was just like, oh man, I'm going to have to get a system. So, which, yeah, from a business sense, makes complete sense. But for me, I was thinking about it from an emotional standpoint, and there was no movement because, I had lots of reasons why not. which made complete sense to me. But then when you look at it, it doesn't make good business sense.
What about for yourself, Claire?
I don't know. I was just trying to think then. I can't think of anything that did make me feel like that, to be honest. Go on.
Hobby.
Go on. Yeah,
What
that's why I
did you
looked at him.
resist- what
It's like,
did you
was I
resist the
resisting?
most?
What did I resist?
If I had to say something, it'd probably be the financial bits.
I was
because
thinking
you-
money, but we'd already
because you
talked
hate
about that.
it.
I do. I do.
I think that kind of
Don't hate
reality of right, this is what's coming in, this is what I need to spend it on, this is how much time I've got. As an onlooker, I'd probably say maybe that, if anything.
I don't resist it. It's just I should
You find it
prioritise it
hard,
way more than I do. You know, in terms of growing the business and focusing on myself.
Did any of my feedback sting?
Yeah, I'd say so, definitely. But in a good way, where you have to sit back and go, okay, and think about it. It's coming back to what I said before, where you've got very strong ideas in your head, but they're not always the best thing for you and for the business. And it's having the ability. I mean, Lee, got to put my hands up and go, you've looked at it and gone, actually, no, I do need to change this. That takes a lot of courage to do, especially when you're so set on this is working for me, I'm doing it the right way, to be able to take that advice on and go, actually, no, I could do this better and I'm going to. That's huge, that is. I think a lot of businesses that I meet, they're just, business owners aren't willing to make those changes. They're just too set on it's their way or the highway almost. So, but I think I had a little bit of that myself as well. And some of the questions that came in did sting a bit.
I don't think it stung for me. I think I trust. I think because I trust you.
Oh dear.
And it's doing all right. I'm doing okay. Then it's not sting. I think sometimes it's. I wouldn't say sting, but it's like when you have to really look at yourself, because that's never good. That's difficult, isn't it? When you have to reevaluate what you're doing sometimes.
I guess the other way I could have asked that question is around: is there anything you pivoted through the course?
Lots. I just think having some direction it was a big thing for me. Just like I say, I'd never like to think too far ahead, but having that direction now, I feel like I've got, going into year 2 now, it feels very different to what it did this time last year.
Yeah,
so, I feel like I've got a plan now. I know where I'm going this year. Whereas last year I was just like, I just need to make enough money to pay the bills and I'm happy.
You just answered I've got a question about what's materially changed for you. That's a great example of what's changed.
Yeah.
I think for Claire, the difficulty of the speed that it's great that it's growing so quickly, but that brings other challenges as well.
Yes,
because you've very quickly gone from I need to replace my salary to I need more people to pass work out to how do I grow it from here and still do my day job and find the time. So it's a good position, but it's created a different set of problems. The speed at which it's happened, I think. For you.
Really, really quickly from one extreme to the other, which is amazing. But I can feed my kids, which is brilliant. But then you have to deliver that. And there's been times I've dropped balls, and that doesn't sit right with me. So then I'm hard on myself, and But you've helped me through that as well. Those times like. You've seen me cry more times than I probably would like you to, but
You know what? That is real, and I've had so many people in this studio with emotion and tears. It happens every time we talk because everyone's connected with the outcomes they're trying to achieve in their business, whatever they are, whatever your outcomes are. People are connected with it, and it's not just you; it's your families.
Yeah.
It's
a lot at stake.
That's right.
Yeah.
That absolutely is, and people don't see that, and
No.
that's where when it's looking tough. You feel it.
Yeah.
And then often it will turn around pretty quickly and you'll get to another week and something different happens and you go back down. And
It's a roller coaster.
It's the life of people think running a business is easy and it's put you on the pedestal, you make a lot of money, but they don't see, how
Blood, sweat and
tirelessly you
tears.
work behind the scenes. It's like a duck on the pond, isn't it? You're sat on the pond, but what's going on underneath? You're paddling like, I nearly swore then. You're paddling like mad.
Yeah, absolutely.
Paddling like mad.
Absolutely.
I won't talk about your pivots because I think you've covered them all. So what about tangible outcomes then? Let's talk about that. Have you got clearer messaging, yes or no?
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's dead easy. Have you got a clear definition of who your customer is?
Yeah, I think I have, yeah.
Yes, but I don't think it's clear in the traditional way. It's still people that want counselling and people who have problems and things that they want to solve. So it's still quite wide, but I know how what services I'm providing now, and I'm confident and clear that when I'm having those introductory calls, are we a good match? I mean, I knew, before I'd have the introductory calls, but now I'm clear on the value that I'm bringing, and I know if we're a good match, and I know the reasons why.
Mm. And what about your offers? Have you refined your offers as a working through the course?
I haven't yet, but it's something I'm thinking about quite a lot at the moment, and something we've talked about that. How I'm packaged at the moment. I think there are definitely some changes that I need to make, but you don't know what you don't know when you first start out, do you? You just do, have a little Google what's other people doing, and especially when time's not on your side, you just kind of go with what you think's right, but that's not always the case.
I'm all for being different to what everybody else is doing.
No, absolutely. So yeah, I haven't done it yet, but it's only because of a time thing. But it's on my year 2 agenda.
What about in confidence in being in a room, introducing yourself and what you do?
Yeah, I feel loads more. We went to a networking event this morning, and I normally I'm not nervous because I'm fine with people, but it's just that how do I explain what I do, or how I am different and things like that. But so I definitely feel a lot clearer when I go in and how I talk about myself, or how I talk about my business. So yeah, that's really helped, just getting that definition sort of nailed.
About yourself?
For me, I always find networking and everything not difficult, but it's like I can't see anybody.
You were my co-pilot with 450 people in the room.
But to me, I'm happy. I'm quite a sociable person. I like people, and I like meeting people and talking to people. When I'm networking and things like that, I mean, I will talk to people about business if it comes up, but I'm not naturally going in and pitching myself. And I can't say that's changed. I can't say I'm going into every room and just like, hey, that's just not my style. But I'm more comfortable now knowing that that's not my style. Whereas before, everybody would be like clear and, they're pitching themselves, and I'm just kind of like, I don't know what to say here. I don't know what,
Yeah.
If you need a counsellor, you know where I am, sort of thing. But I wouldn't counsel anybody in that room. So it was never, just wasn't sure where to sit with that. But actually now, that's not the goal of networking. It is just, it's okay just to be sociable and just to kind of get on with other people and find your tribe, basically, and other business owners, and hearing, their stories. So again, I don't think that I've probably changed the way that I turn up, but I feel like there's less pressure. I'm not putting as much pressure on myself to be like, I need to be pitching my business. I need to have it all succinct. I'm quite comfortable with where I'm at.
And what about personal transformation outside of the business? What has this 12 weeks of being together, 13 weeks, what has it done to you?
I think it's just great knowing you're not on your own with the struggles that you're going through. You think, oh God, people think, like you say, everyone thinks you've got it together and things like that. And it's nice to know we're all human and we're all having similar struggles. So that community thing makes all the difference for me. Like you say, you could just give out the slides and, you kind of carry on your way. But the chatting it through and, with the same people each week and going on that journey together, that's what makes the difference.
That was definitely the value add for me. And I think that was what you said as well, wasn't it? The first class. But yeah, I think that's the huge value add with the course. Speaking with other people and getting other people's ideas and going through it together with people.
Yeah. And look, I've learned a lot from doing it digitally. I'm definitely going to do it face to face. That's already planned in the future plan for this year.
Brilliant.
Once I get over my knee up. What about for yourself, Lou?
I think what I'd realised is I'd gone on to, I'd got the counselling, which I love doing, and I'm proud of the service that I offer. But I think I'd kind of almost along the way got kind of almost concertinaed into, right, well, now I've got to learn about accounts. Now I've got to learn about the IT systems. Now I need to, and it was almost like, okay, so I've learnt that. And it was almost like the business was kind of, it had grown, but almost not as one, almost like as add-ons. Like, oh, I need to do that now. I need to do that. which wasn't the most efficient way.
Like in little silos almost.
Yeah, and just learning the skills and kind of, it's built up and, it's comfortable and everything. And I think I'd almost kind of, that was where I was at, and I was kind of like proud because it had taken a lot to get there. But after the course, I almost feel like I've just kind of gone, right, do you know what? The counselling I'm doing, I'm not changing that because that's working and I love doing that. But everything else, I'm just like, okay, let's just reimagine everything, because what is working, there's other things that have come out of the course that I want to do. But obviously I need to put systems in place because I can't be spending that amount of time on admin and things like that. So again, for me, it's just been quite transformational.
I think it's fair to say that you've kept your core skill and the passion that you've got in your therapy, but you're about to reimagine your whole business.
Yeah.
And that's a beautiful journey you're going to go on. I've had the insight of seeing what your thoughts are and where you're going to take it. And that, to me, has blown me away the most out of all of it. The fact that you've gone, I've got this thing here that I love and I'm an expert in it and no one's going to change me. And you've stuck to your guns around your principles of what you're trying to do and your values. But you've also realised there's a way bigger thing that's worth chasing. And now you're going to put plans in place to do that.
Yeah.
I think that's, and particularly, when you talk about financial security for us all and our families, it's okay to think big. And why can't you be the next thing? Why not you? Why can't you be as good as anybody else in this planet? You can. You can. You just got to think big. And I'm not even going to tell you where this is going. So, who is Vision to Venture, the course, really for?
Well, I would say people that are just starting out in business, but obviously that's slightly different, isn't it? From my perspective, I wish I'd have started, that the value of that before I started would have really helped me just get out of my head a little bit. But yeah, obviously with you, Lee, you're in a different journey, weren't you?
Yeah, I do agree. I do think it'd be fantastic to have this at the start. It would have saved a hell of a lot of time. But I also think for me, like I say, I think I was about 18, 19 months in at the time when I started the course. And even though, obviously I turned up because I thought you were doing a course that I might be able to pass on some of the things.
I have to say, I got a lot of value out of you. I got a lot. I did. I did get learning. Learning. Don't work with a client like this.
Screening before every course now.
No more therapists on Vision to Venture.
Yeah, my process for discounting people.
What's your career?
Find out who your ideal client is.
Sorry, I joke completely.
But for me, it has been so beneficial for so many different reasons. So even if startup or somebody that's, you're going and you just want to maybe go into a course with a community, because again, it's the magic that was happening in the masterclass. Obviously, the work that we were doing was useful, and as I've said, I've gone through quite a lot of the work that, the slides and workbooks and things like that. But again, it was kind of bringing it off the page and then talking about it and then going out into the wild and doing these things and then coming back and then looking what worked, what didn't work. Did you enjoy that? And it's just kind of like, it was like a whole experience. It wasn't just, oh, this is the business information, this is how you do it. It was more to do with, the experience and obviously being in a kind of a safe space with other business owners, and you can work through what it is that you need to kind of work on that particular week. And even if you don't have the answers, it wasn't like, oh, well, you don't know the answers, you need to go back and do that module. And there were times when, life gets in the way and we kind of like paused and we had
it for
this
a couple of weeks and had some space.
And, because there was, some things that we needed to do and they take long because you think, I'll just do this. And then nobody's replying, and then you have to chase things up. And it was like, it's kind of an organic process. It wasn't just like, this is rigid, this is where you need to be. Well, you're not there, well, you're falling behind that, you'll catch up. It was still, it was very, very gentle, but you kept moving.
Yeah, the last thing I wanted to do is overwhelm you with the course when you're already overwhelmed as business people, it's the last thing you want to do.
Definitely.
What about for yourself, Tim?
I think for people with where they're just starting with an idea, it would be great. They haven't even done anything, or they've just got that idea and that's it. But I also think there's value for young businesses as well. People that have been going for
it's a pity
6 months,
pity
a
Lewis
year.
wasn't with us
Yeah.
today because he would have had some good.
Yeah, I think that there's value there as well.
Yeah.
And then even as a more established business, you could probably pick up some beneficial stuff. But I think definitely that either a brand new startup, someone with just an idea, or
Those
businesses
first
in
few
their
years.
early,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
first couple of years maybe,
Yeah.
where they're still finding their feet.
Who's it not for?
I think people who are closed-minded.
I was about to say exactly the same thing. I think if people are very, very focused on their idea is the best and they've got the blinkers on and they won't listen to advice, it's probably pointless going on it, because you've got to be willing to change your mind
Or accept challenge.
or accept, accept.
And do the homework, because
Yeah.
you wouldn't have got the success that you guys got if you didn't put in the hours that you put in.
Yeah,
And it's not just the hours filling in the workbooks or watching the video or looking at the slides. It's the hours where you're not sleeping at night because you're thinking, or you're in your workspace with a white sheet drawing ideas. It's all of that. It's all of that time that you put into this is what you'll get out. So I don't want people on this course who aren't going to be prepared to put in action, because they're not going to get the benefit from it. And I'm action orientated. I don't mess about. I'd just like to get on and be focused and follow a process. So. Cool. So, quick fire round.
On gold.
One word for Vision to Venture. One word. Bang, 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 go.
This isn't quickfire, is it?
It's not.
Transformational.
Oh, that's a good one.
Oh, she's got it first.
Supportive.
valuable.
Biggest mindset shift.
Thinking big.
Like just thinking next steps, like rather than just that treading water. Yeah.
Yeah, bigger picture.
Most valuable element or module.
I think for me, for the finance one, like the one I resist, is actually the really important one for me personally, because it's one that I do resist.
I think the customer section and what customers want, which I'd mentioned earlier, that's key.
The
That
bit
is.
at the beginning.
Yeah, probably the value that I bring. That for me was a really hard set, and it was like just keep going back and back and back, and then it just kind of clicked, and then it was like,
Build fast or perfect.
fast.
Fast.
That's a good takeaway. Pivot or preserve.
Pivot.
Oh, I've got your community or solo.
Community.
Community.
Look at that, just eating out my hand now. So, if Vision to Venture didn't exist, or you weren't cajoled into coming on to it, where would you be right now?
Oh my goodness.
She's not quick for you. You can talk
I'd probably
about
be in the same place that I was, and I was quite happy with where I was.
it. Sorry, I made you say.
I was quite happy. I was quite proud. I built up a
So you should have been.
a private practice, but now it's like I still have that, and I also have so much more. So
I think it wasn't fixing something that was broken. It was just making improvements, I think, maybe for yourself, rather than thinking about, you had achieved something. You can't take that away, but it's how you can improve, isn't it? I think there's always ways to improve what you're doing, and being open-minded to look at that and go, right, how can we make this more efficient, improve it, get to the next level? I think that's key.
Yeah.
About yourself, Claire.
I probably wouldn't have the focus that I've got for my next year. I would be still probably just fight or flight, just trying to get through each day. Whereas I feel like I know what I need to do this year. I need to find the time for it, but at least I know kind of the direction I'm going in. You know, I felt comfortable with like my customers and things like that when I started. You really helped with that, but the like I said before, the finance things have been a real struggle for me. So, I've got more focus with that now, and we all need to get paid at the end of the day, don't we? But it was something I always found really uncomfortable. So I feel like I've got a lot more direction now this year.
I think for you two in particular as well, where it's time for money in the beginning.
Yeah.
And
How
it's
do you scale?
well-being because
Yeah.
you're passionate about what you do.
Yeah.
And then it's almost like, okay, now I'm charging for almost well-being and people's health. And it just, especially because we're in a society where you have the NHS, it's like you get it free at the point of contact. So then when you're offering well-being and then you're kind of charging, it almost, I don't know, it's definitely a mindset shift. But can you get what we offer anywhere else? So that's where the value comes in.
Absolutely. And that's what you found on your journey, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's that
absolutely.
holistic element that is your uniqueness.
USP.
Mm.
Yeah.
So, anything else you'd like to add before I just wrap this up?
Just say
Just
to
thank-
anyone
yeah.
who's got a business idea, get on the course.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Won't regret it.
Yeah. And thank you.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
Massive
thanks,
thank
Neil.
you.
Yeah. So thank you all for coming and doing this today. I'm looking forward to where you all go next and how you're going to explode the world. Now you are an expert.
Still not an expert, but yeah.
No, thank you, Tim, Claire, Lee. Thank you for coming on, and I look forward to seeing this production of this video. It's going to be I've actually enjoyed the interview. It's been fun and relaxed, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it has.
definitely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.